Welcome back to Farmhouse Harvest. It is fall, it is beautiful, it is mid-October, and we're gonna start today off with another beautiful trip to the local farmers market. I am blessed to live just a couple miles down the road from Purdum's, which is our local farmers market, and they are loaded with all things fall. We've got Indian corn, we've got winter squash, we've got pumpkins, we've got a pumpkin patch and hay rides and beautiful flowers. It's just a gorgeous time at the fall market, so I decided to give you a little bit of that just in case you don't have one close to you. This is my favorite place and my kids' favorite place to come in October. We're always picking out pumpkins, and they're not just for jack-o'-lanterns. We love them, love to cook them, love to bake with them, and just love having them around through Thanksgiving.
How about I take pictures of you on there? Come on, Mom.
So we did pick up some Indian corn and decided to use our harvest basket and try to make a little decor with it for the fireplace. And so my daughter is just putting that together. We've got some pie pumpkins in there with some Indian corn, just trying to arrange that. I think she decided to save some Indian corn seeds to plant next year in the garden. I'm lucky enough to have a daughter who enjoys doing these things with me, but these pumpkins are just so cute on the brick fireplace. Just give you a little shot of that. Last year, I made a feather reed grass wreath in the fall. I will make another one this year, but this is last year's fall wreath, and it's still beautiful. I had it hanging up in my garage, so I'm just gonna add that to the front door. Also, I went shopping. Our local Red Apple, which is our local grocery store, had chicken on sale for $1.99 a pound, which is super good around here. I usually can't get it for less than $3.50 a pound. So I bought a bunch of that, and I am going to can up some chicken breast. And I love having canned meats on hand because you can do so much with it, whether you're just going to do shredded barbecue chicken sandwiches, or if you want to make a really quick chicken soup or a chicken pot pie. It's also great for chicken enchiladas and so many different ways, chicken salad sandwiches. So just having this already cooked and on the shelf makes meal preparation so much faster and easier, especially on busy nights. And it's soccer season, so it has been busy nights around here. It's really important when you're canning chicken to cut the fat off. Too much fat in the jar can actually cause the seal to fail. And so I'm chopping off as much fat as I can. Plus, I just don't even like it in the jar. It's not very pretty. Although canned meats aren't really pretty either. They're just very convenient and delicious. So what you want to do is cut those up into about 1-inch chunks and then pack them as tight as you can into the jar. It will actually make its own broth in the jar. I am going to add a tiny bit of broth to these and a tiny bit of salt, but you don't have to. You can just chop it up, pack your jars, wipe the rims and clean your rims and place your new lids on top and then screw the bands on finger tight and place them into your prepared pressure canner. I do use a Presto pressure canner with 3 quarts of water or 3 inches of water at the bottom. And then of course I have a rack to place my jars on. And then I will put these finished jars into my pressure canner after putting some salt in there and then wiping the rims off and placing my lids and screwing the bands on. I'll place these all into the pressure canner and they will process for an hour and a half. So 90 minutes for raw packed chicken. And we will show you this process. Letting this vent steam for 10 minutes. And then I will add my weighted gauge on top. Let it come up to pressure. There you go. See that pop up? It's come to pressure. When that pops up, pop up, buddy. There we go. And then you wait for it to jiggle. And once your weight starts jiggling, you set your timer, and that's 90 minutes. While we're waiting for the pressure canner, which is going to take quite a while after it's done to cool off, I'll head out to the garden. My daughter and I are going to be cutting some sage and some thyme. We'll be hanging this in the house and letting it dry again. I go through so much thyme. I use it in almost every meat recipe, and sage is delicious too. So, and it's also beautiful. We are just gonna cut a bunch of these before it starts freezing out in the garden. We're getting frost in the mornings now, and it's really starting to feel like fall. This smells so good. All this fresh sage and thyme is just so strong, but I love it. So we're gonna bring these into the house and tie them up and hang them to dry so that we can preserve them and use them throughout the winter. Luckily, sage and thyme are perennial herbs, so they will keep growing through the winter and come back again in the spring, which I am so grateful for. I love perennial plants, especially food-producing plants, because you plant them once and they keep coming back season after season and just keep giving. It actually makes a really pretty just basket if you wanted to use that for decor. Just a beautiful morning out in the garden in the backyard. See the sunrise. I'm so blessed to have my daughter Pay. She is such a sweetheart, and she enjoys all things craft and natural, and so she's just in her element when it comes to the garden and the chickens and decor and craft, and she's always very helpful. So we're just tying these together. I actually just make a slip knot and stick it around there and then tie it tight. And I have an antique hat rack, I believe. I'm not sure what the actual name of it is, but I've got it hanging in my pantry, and I will just tie these up to that so that they can hang and dry. It'll take a few weeks for them to be completely dried out that way, but they retain their color and their flavor and their smell really well when you just hang dry them. I just love this pantry. It is not 100% for practical uses. I also really like to have it looking beautiful, and hanging herbs in there just adds to the beauty of a pantry, a working pantry, and an aesthetically pleasing pantry. But I do like to get these dried and then put them into quart mason jars and label those, and then I get to use them for years to come. And I really do use these in a lot of my recipes. One more project that Pay has helped me with. Okay, so the chicken is done. It has totally cooled, and so I'm removing these from the pressure canner. You let the pressure release on its own and let it cool for hours, so that you can see I'm just pulling these out by hand. They're completely cooled off. The lid, the rings around the lids are already loose because they have cooled completely and just loosened. I did have one jar that lost a couple inches of the liquids, but you can see that it made its own broth. Every jar has made its own broth. So I'm just wiping the jars down and getting them ready to go into the pantry. This one lost a little bit of its broth, but it's still good. There's nothing wrong with it, although I will probably use that jar before I use any of the other jars, just because it can become a little bit discolored. But the meat inside it is perfectly fine. And these will last for years on the shelf, although they won't really last for years around here because we will probably have them used all this winter. I think I'm going to do some beef this way too and get it up on the shelf, but it definitely makes a convenient meal, and there's no additives or preservatives. It's just all natural, home jarred, healthy canned chicken. I will include a blog post with the written instructions for canning chicken if you're interested, and I will link that below when I get that finished for you. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I get a video out every week. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.